A record-setting year for attendance at Grand Park, plus what's new on its many fields, and why Grand Park's Event Center isn't just for sports anymore. That and more are coming up.
Every year it seems like there's something new at Grand Park, but historically you're really celebrating a milestone. What is it?
Yeah, we were proud in 2022 to have over 3.5 million visits to the campus, and that seems like just a number to some, but when you look back at historical, dating back to 2014 in our first year of operation, when we had about 900,000 visits to the campus to where we are today, you really see the vision of what Grand Park was and how it's been executed, and really a milestone year is a great way to put it. We were thrilled to have 3.5 million visits to the campus in 1 year.
So that is a lot to me, but what does it tell you about the health of this campus?
Yeah, it tells me that our events are growing and continuing to grow. A lot of our events on campus are repeat visitors. So they've been with us since the inception of Grand Park, and they continue to grow alongside of the facility. So what that tells me is that not only the facility itself is continuing to grow, our events are growing, but also the community is having the growth that it desired when we built Grand Park. And that growth is important to continue the successes of what our events want in developing that youth sports tourism aspect of their event. And so driving all those people here just speaks to the success that we've been able to build here.
And let's remember that those attendance figures came during inflation and then also during high gas prices last year.
That's right. That's right. We did see, and in fairness, we did start to see some of the sidelines start to become not as fruitful of, you know, the little siblings or aunts and uncles. We still saw several parents on the sidelines and the occasional local, but I think what we're seeing is a lot more teams coming, thus more athletes are visiting. So our spread of the athlete is getting larger here at the campus. We anticipate a lot of those visitors coming back in 23, but we definitely did see some of those individuals may not make that trip that once did. But really the growth there is in the events continuing to grow there.
Well, let's talk about what's new in 2023, because every year there's something new. What do you have this year?
Yeah, we're proud that we were able to reinvest back into the facility in multiple ways. On our field sports side of the campus, we're starting the process of flipping our turf fields. So we have 7 outdoor turf fields, and we have gone through the process and now have 4 of the 7 with a completely new surface. And what that means for us is we're able to elevate the level of play on our fields. The expectation is that we have a world-class facility, and that is not missed by our staff. Allowing us to have those turf fields being new in 23 allows us to reset that standard for our campus. Our plan is to finish out the last 3 at the end of this year or early next year, so thus we'll have new surfaces for all athletes on our field sports turf. Along with that, our grounds team has done a really great job of creating a sod farm on campus. And again, to some that may not mean like it's a really cool thing, but to us, when we have that expectation and the athletes and visitors have the expectation of playing on world-class facilities, that sod farm allows us to take some bad areas that may have been worn from high play or high use, revitalize that space with this new sod, and go back to playing like nothing ever happened. And in facility management, for us specifically, it is vital to have high utilization, which then allows us to have those milestone years of 3.5 million visits. So building into that is vitally important for us.
Tell me a little bit about this place.
Yeah, so this event center is 377,000 square feet. Kind of a cool factoid that is spouted about this building is if you were to tip it on its side, it's taller than the St. Louis Arch in St. Louis. So pretty neat characteristic there.
I'm sure you want to beat every year attendance figures, you want to look at it, but what's really the most important thing to you out here?
Yeah, I think the goal is to drive people to Westfield. I mean, that's always been the vision for Grand Park. And as we set out year over year, it's to invite those visitors, create an excellent visitor experience so that they go back and, let's face it, these facilities are popping up throughout the nation. But what makes Westfield and Grand Park specifically memorable? And that's what our staff is trying to create in that larger than life event experience here at the facility.
But it's not just sports out here, there's research that's going on as well.
That's right. We have our a research hub here. We've been proudly working with a handful of companies to do R&D here. One most recently is doing a lot of work on our grounds, and so we're really working hard to diversify the use of Grant Park outside of just the athletes coming to the facility.
What is the outlook? You talk to your colleagues around the country. What is their outlook for 2023? Do they expect that this is going to be a banner year? Is it going to be an average year in terms of just, families that do travel sports, those sorts of things, tournaments, all the things that you're involved in? What's the outlook?
Yeah, the outlook for 23 is still a strong one. The industry as a whole is, again, continuing to grow. And I think that's the proof there is there's multiple facilities popping up by the day. And for us, again, as we look internally, how do we continue to set ourselves apart? Our expansiveness is one thing that more than likely won't ever be matched. And if it does, it's going to be tough to do so. But really, it's that experience that draws people back to Westfield and Grant Park specifically. But from an industry-wide state, very strong when it comes to youth sports tourism.
We're in the Grant Park Event Center right now. This, you see the fields, but what you don't see often is the diversification of events that you host here now. It's really changed over the years. How so?
That's right. When we constructed this building, it was originally intended to be an extension of the outdoor fields, just indoor, to create that year-round facility for field sports specifically. What we quickly found is there's this market of non-sporting business that wanted to relocate to Grant Park. So we invested into electrical that allowed us to produce shows and events of larger scale, and a hard surface flooring that allows us to protect our asset in the turf. Well, what we've started to create is an environment where these non-sporting events want to be here. So we have 3 shows with Suburban Indy, a spring, a fall, and a holiday. We've attracted the likes of Gaylor to bring their headquartered national meeting here on a biannual basis. And we're starting to see some of these other non-sporting events in the likes of corporate outings or the Farm and Technology Equipment Expo start to relocate here. And so we really are honing in on that to, again, diversify our brand here and diversify our event base, thus bringing new visitors and expanding their eyes on the campus.
Yeah, and then, let's finish now with the Colts, because that's one of the major events that take place, Colts training camp coming up this year. Anything new, anything different? You get with the Colts every year and you sort of sit down and talk about what went well, what can be improved, I should say. And so what about this year?
This year's going to be unique, right? We've had the agreement with the Colts since 2018. Since that inception of that agreement, we've had one head coach at training camp every year. So we got in a routine of knowing what that specific coach wanted and got a feel for what that looked like. Well, now we have a new head coach, and we're excited to see what new ideas he has. And may not see that from the visitor experience standpoint. Still a great team on the marketing side of things, but there's going to be nuances that are different for camp this year. I think one we're really excited about, and the buzz around the Indy market is there's going to be a new quarterback, and with that comes a lot of excitement. So I think selfishly, from a Grant Park standpoint, we're excited to see a lot of fans here in July and August.
Big year for you this year.
Absolutely. We're very excited. We have some new events coming. There's a new event coming to Westfield here in the Emoji Games, and this is a community-based event specifically around soccer that's going to take over all of our field assets and develop a community feel within different areas of our facility. So we're excited to have those new events relocate to Grant Park here in Westfield.
And Matt Trnian, Director of Grant Park. Matt, thank you very much. Have a great 2023.
Thank you, Chris.